everyone, and welcome into Geek Out Loud. My name's Steve Glosson. Glad to be along with you as we try to do this YouTube thing, a little bit of a pre-recorded deal rather than the usual live stream because of what we're going to try to accomplish today. And I want to say right out of the gate that everything that's about to happen here is inspired by Just Jay Hernandez on YouTube. I will not be able to have his fancy transitions or music because I'm not that accomplished at what I'm doing right now. But he's the one that got me into all of the posing and everything else. When I began to see his videos and how he worked with his figures, I was like, this is perfect. And then, of course, the Fwoosh when he does his overviews of things. So I am taking bits and pieces of the way they do things, trying to put my own geek out loud kind of spin on it, and we're just going to see how it goes. Because today, really excited because what we have here is the Fantastic Four wave, the retro carded wave from Hasbro Marvel Legends. It came in the mail this week. I was super excited. I have not opened any of them yet because I wanted to do a video. I wanted to do a geek out loud about these toys. So let's jump over here and see if we can make this work. I am on a shoestring budget and just trying to get by. So before we get into the Fantastic Four, on one of our recent live streams that we were doing, talking what if, Adam caught me messing around with the Absorbing Man, and Adam Bray was kind enough to send me um, his wrecking ball. I've got some instructions to make. Whoa. I've got some instructions to make a new one and some materials to make one like a basically a homemade one. But there he is in all his glory with his wrecking ball and so I'm going to have some fun playing around with him, and he's got some different arms and a face that has some stone. He's got some different makeups of his arms and everything. But yeah, so the Absorbing Man coming to a whoa coming to an Instagram near you, and there goes the camera. So see, everything is going to be pretty wacky on this particular episode because of the struggle is real. So let me make sure I've got enough cable to do what I'm wanting to do, and I don't mean cable from the future protecting the baby. I'm talking about a cord for the camera that I'm using and have it run to the computer here. So, oh no, and it has frozen up. Great. All right. So, let's pause and try to work this out. So here we're back. We're back now, and you for you it was like the briefest of seconds, and it was one of those jump clips, jump jump clips, jump clips that people like to do when they're doing their recordings and stuff on the YouTube. Trying to be a YouTuber. Like and thumbs up, by the way. I have no graphics to add there. I should have done that. I should have preloaded those things. Anyway, let's get into this. Let's get into this set here. So, this is the full wave, the Fantastic Four retro carded wave. The card is reminiscent of the '90s action figures, which I believe I have one right here from a sale a while back. There is that's the psycho. That's what's interesting is that's the Psycho Man on the card, but you can kind of see, same design, a little bit of a hollow foil thing going on there, and then of course, as seen on the Marvel Action Hour there, and the Toy Biz logo down in the bottom corner. These will not have the Toy Biz logo or the hollow foil around the four, but let's give them a look. There is the aforementioned Psycho Man. There, the first time, I believe, maybe the first time as a Marvel Legends figure. Completely new sculpt. Really excited to crack him open and see. Of course, Ben Grimm, the Thing, one of my favorite characters in all the Marvel universe. The Invisible Woman, Sue Storm, and there he is, Mr. Fantastic, the leader of the Fantastic Four. And Johnny Storm, I'm really super excited about this one because I missed out on the Walgreens Johnny Storm, who was, nowadays is so expensive to get on the secondary market. But I'm really digging what I'm seeing here just in the package because of the look of what he's got going. Don't know if he poses. Here's the thing: I should probably be opening these all, put them in boiling water to make sure their joints are working and everything. But we're just going to get right into it because I don't know why I'm not just doing this live. Maybe that's what I should have done. Maybe instead of trying to get fancy, of course, I would have had the technical difficulty live. It would have been ugly. It would have been very ugly. And then rounding out this wave, of course, is the High Evolutionary, which we're going to get into him a little bit as we get into that figure a bit. So let's do this. We're going to open these bad boys up. The cards are rather large. They fall in line with Doctor Doom, who was released a while back. You know what? I didn't transition, did I? So there's Johnny Storm again, and the High Evolutionary, who we'll be talking about. And these guys all are a good follow-up to this version of Doctor Doom, who was on. He was the first one they released on a retro card. He had a mailer box and everything else. Really cool situation with him. He's just like the other Doctor Doom. The color scheme's a little bit different. He's got a little bit lighter color here. He's got this extra collar thing around his neck, and but he's got the extra hands. He's got some books, some magic books that come with him. He's got the ultimate nullifier, which the Walgreens Reed Richards came with, and some magically sparkly effects. I have not opened him because he's the only one I have. And he kind of looks good hanging on my wall. But with these guys, with the Fantastic Four, this is what we're doing. We got to open these bad boys up because this group is in my wheelhouse. I'm going to show you some comparisons later on. I'm not bringing out the modern versions, which are in the black suits with the blue trim. I'm going to bring in what I consider to be the very classic look of the Fantastic Four, which is the light blue with the navy blue trim, which was the Walgreens exclusive. But we're going to do some comparisons with some of them. Like I said, I don't have the Johnny Storm, the Human Torch from that wave, so there will be no comparison there. But everything else, we'll compare and kind of talk about, some of the differences and some of the things that are going on. But these have, I think most people associate this with maybe John Byrne's era of the Fantastic Four. It's the navy blue with the white trim, white gloves, white collar, white belts, and everything. There are some exclusive to Hasbro Pulse figures that have not come in yet. One is a completely invisible, quote unquote, Sue Storm, or Sue Richards, I guess, the invisible lady, invisible woman. And then one is a flamed off, if you will, Johnny Storm. So we'll go through those when we get them as well. But I'm really excited to bust into these. So let's do it right now. The first one we're going to do here is The Thing, because I actually have him and have opened him up. So let's get into this guy, because there's a couple of things about this one that I'm not super thrilled with, or really just one thing that I'm not super thrilled about, because it kind of gives it a weird, odd look. So let me grab him way over here. And like I say, I'd already gotten him in because I was impatient, if I'm being real. So this is the Thing. You can see he's got two different heads. He's got the head with no teeth and the head with teeth. And this is, I've got the teeth in there in his head. I really dig him. I like the trunks, the blue with the white trim. I like the head sculpt. This is a fun head sculpt because this is very much kind of John Byrne inspired head sculpt. It doesn't, a lot of times the Thing had kind of a brow situation going on, but Byrne would sometimes give him this dome look to him on his head, as you can see there, from Fantastic Four Annual number 17. And this is just this is a great little, this is what I was going to try to use as a backdrop, and I guess I still could. By the way, let me pause and say, Mark All, ladies and gentlemen, is you can go to his Etsy, all the small things. Let me find the sticker. All the small things on his Etsy. He's doing some 3D printing stuff. He's got a lot of stuff for your collecting purposes. He's got some stands for various, like Black Series, box stands. He's got a lot of, he joked the other day he's doing a lot of Master of the Universe stuff, but this is like an easel almost, comic book stand, very easy to put together, and he does different logos, and he did the Geek Out Loud logo for me. So thanks, Mark. All really appreciate that. Check out his Etsy, all the small things. So back to this Ben Grimm. One of the things about this thing that I noticed, I do like the head. I like the dome. It does have that John Byrne feel to it. But you can see right here, there's this wash that goes across, or this lack of a wash, I guess, that goes across, and it looks unnatural. It has this weird. It's I guess it's meant to be a highlight. There's a little bit on his head there, and I guess it's meant to be kind of a highlight, but it just, if you notice it, and because it goes all the way across the back as well, and if you notice the difference, then you can't look away. Like it's just one of those things that you can't really you can't unsee it. As far as a sculpt, like they've used this sculpt on. This is the third thing now that they've used this sculpt on. They had the more modern version, which also had this paint app with the weird shading there. But then there's this guy, and this is the what I call super classic kind of thing situation going on. And I don't know if I can get them both in camera or not. There we go. Um, you can see the difference in the brow there. He's got in most a lot of artists when they would draw the thing once he got his rocky skin all the way through is they would actually put almost a rocky unibrow. Then that helps kind of convey um, you know what he was thinking. Convey emotion. That's the word I'm looking for. Here you've got more of the dome top. Here you've got that brow. There was a black wash that looks like that was done to this. It really accentuates all the different rocks or the cracks in his skin, that sort of thing. Um, and you can just see it's a more dynamic look. And if I could have this head and put on this body and it not look weird, that's probably the route I would go. Just because I really do dig this body a lot. Now, it's, like I say, it's the same sculpt. It's just the paint application that I really enjoy a lot. He's got pretty good articulation to be such a bulky figure. You're going to have trouble at these elbows to get him to go very far, but that's about the articulation you're going to get. He's got extra punching hands. I've just got the one kind of, ooh, I'm going to grab your hand. It's clobbering time there. His legs, he's got kind of the double knee thing, but he can't go. You can see he can't go all the way up. I don't know why people do this posing stuff with this, but forward facing pin for rocker, kind of. But yeah, I just absolutely, it's clobbering time, and you can actually get this guy doing a lot. One of my favorite things to do with the thing. Oh my gosh, I've piled too much on top of the one I was going to try to get. Just a moment, please, while we do this. So you can see how he scales here next to the Hulk, and this is the best. Like literally, this Hulk figure is just the best. I love everything about this guy. It's the best head sculpt I've seen them do on a Hulk in Marvel Legends in a long time. A lot of times when they're trying to make him look angry or something, his head either comes out too tiny or it's almost like they're trying to go away from the comic look or something. But this is a great one. But you see how he scales, and it's just right. Like it is the perfect scale. The Hulk generally always kind of towered over the thing. But man, when these two guys are going at it, like, oh, here, let me turn him this way so he's looking more at the camera there. And then the Hulk, get him. Get him situated here. Like he's ready to attack. Oh. Oh. Right in the way there. Right in the way. Can't do it. Not good. Not good. Let's see. This is Steve trying to pose on cue. But anyway. So I love getting these two guys in kind of like, battle positions, if you will. I still am holding out hope for the old mutated thing from circa FF 310, 311, 312 era, right around the time of Steve Englehart's run. And yeah, so but I do love the thing, and I love, like I say, this color scheme is kind of the one I grew up on. Here, what else can they do with the thing now? What other than the mutated version that we'll never get? What else can they do with the thing? Well, um, onesies. Uh, the thing has, onesie's the wrong word, singlet. What we've gotten, what Hasbro has produced so far with all of these thing figures is the trunks variation here. But a lot of times let me turn that just slightly there. A lot of times this variation, the thing had a full on wrestling singlet almost is what it would look like. Um, and in fact, in his own title, he didn't have the Fantastic Four colors. He wore like a black with red trim singlet. And I'm telling you what, if I could sew, and find the material, I'd probably, because I have so many extra of these, and particularly like the modern version, because I don't like the black with the blue trim that the modern version has. I would. What I would do is I would make a singlet a la his thing comic book run with the black and the red trim. He also would wear boots from time to time. Like here, this is that very classic version, but the same buck, if you will. But you see, he's barefooted. He's got the toes and everything. Four of them, in fact, just like his hands, four fingers on each hand. Um, he wore boots. Whenever he'd wear the singlet, a lot of times he'd have the boots on. Now, mutated thing, no boots. Nothing would fit him, and it's surprising he was even able to get trunks on over all of the protrusions and everything that he had coming off his body. I don't know how you would ever sculpt that it would be a working action figure, but it's one of those things that I would absolutely love to see them try. I think it'd work best as a build a figure. He's bigger as that version than he is in this size. There's one guy I've seen online that's actually done some some custom work and made a custom version, and it took him forever. But it's outstanding. It was an outstanding piece of work that the dude did. I wish I could remember who he was so I could commend you to him, but I can't remember exactly who it was or how to find him. So let's move. Moving on, in fact, to old Reed Richards here, the Mr. Fantastic, as it were. Named himself that, by the way. Named himself Mr. Fantastic. The challenge with any Mr. Fantastic figure is the accessories that he is going to come with. So, in an essence, stretchy arms, stretchy legs, stretchy body, stretchy head. Toy Biz did a lot of great things with Mr. Fantastic. In the first outing of Marvel Legend Mr. Fantastic, he came with like big hand, hammer hand. There was a version they released where he had like an elongated body. There was one version they released where you had the Fantastic Four and you had Mr. Fantastic, but then you had just a ball with his face on it because he would do things like that, not in a Plastic Man silly kind of way, but like in a throw me bin, kind of way, and do the projectile. So this is him on the card. This is one of the things that we'll see is this is removable. His whole, you see, he's got some extra arms here, but this coat is removable, and you can take these arms off, put these arms on. I'm thinking maybe these hands might be removable, so you don't have the long, creepy fingers so much. But we'll find all that out here as we get into it. So let's do that right now. So here he is in his lab coat situation here. I did off camera test the hands. The hands do indeed pop off, and so you're not stuck with, when you take the coat off, you're not stuck with Mr. Gangly Fingers. Now, this comes directly out of comic books where he uses these things to punch in fast numbers or to grab things big. I don't really know, um, but I guess this is just an easier mold to do. I'll show you a comparison with the very classic Reed in just a second. But before we do that, let's see about popping this guy's arms off, like I'm a Wookiee or something, and seeing where we go from there. So let me grab this guy here. Generally, yeah, they pop off pretty easily, and then the coat comes right off. And so rather than have a sleeveless lab coat like some kind of, you know, I don't know. Of course, if you want to do a 80s hairband kind of thing, I can see a sleeveless lab coat on an 80s rocker. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, I guess. So now he's ready for battle with his creepy hands. So let's come back over here to the table. So as we come here, one of the things that I don't like about this, just to kind of get going, is there's no boot cut. So there's no swivel in the calf, which oftentimes you can adjust feet and stuff that way to kind of help with a stance. But standing in a neutral stand for this guy is kind of weird. And let me pan down just a bit there. He's got the duck feet situation going on. This is one of the things that happen on some Marvel figures, some of the Marvel Legends figures. For whatever reason, they do this weird duck boot kind of thing. And it's a weird looking mold. It kind of fits him because of his plasticity and everything, I guess. But yeah, but outside of that, he's got the chest bend, and there's a swivel at the waist. He does have the swivel at the thigh, double elbows and such. And as I said, the hands do come off. They're a little. It's a little bit of a. You got to use strength that I can't use in the position I'm in right now to get them off. But they do come off, so you can have normal hands from the lab coat on his hands there. I want to bring over. This is the Reed Richards from the Walgreens wave a few years back, and the head sculpt is pretty much the same. The paint is a little bit different on him, on the head, but you can see he's got the long arms. That's one of the things they packed in for him, was an extra set of arms that were kind of extended out. And with the modern Richards, they went with the weird fingers. So the problem is, unless you can customize, and you need to be able to find one of these to customize, you can't really, and I can't. I'm not an artist. I'm not a painter. But you can't. It's really kind of difficult to find. You're kind of stuck with him, and Reed Richards, to really fully experience the joy of a Reed Richards action figure, you need to have some options as to what you can do with his stretchiness. But again, it's one of those things. Look, man, just the bold 4 on his. I need something different to point with than my finger. I've got nothing. But just the boldness with which that 4 stands out. I mean, compare it to that 4 there, which is a little more dull. I know that this isn't. You can look at the 4 on his chest, and it's not the classic Fantastic Four. But just the color scheme of their clothing makes me feel super classic with them. But they're not as modern as the black and blue. But anyhow, so yeah. Anyway, pulling him aside, this dude is all right. Like, he is about what you'd expect. It's going to be a very just common body type here. The draw for him is to be able to throw this on. That's kind of the draw. Also, to have a complete Fantastic Four. Let me see if I've got Spidey nearby here. The closest that you're going to get to this guy in size is going to be probably a Spider-Man. This is the retro Spider-Man, and he's not posed very well, so please pardon that. And you can kind of see they kind of match up. Now, this Spidey body is a little bit different than this. I don't know what they call the buck, and that would be like the mold for the body when it just has that one, not really an ab crunch, but kind of an ab crunch there at the top of the abs. Whereas with Spider-Man, you've got some swivel up there, plus a little bit of ab crunch. But now he doesn't have. Does he have a cut at the waist? I'm not sure. Let me see. No, he can't swivel at the waist, but he can bend extra, and he's got like a chest swivel up here. I know this isn't the Spider-Man review, but you can kind of see too his feet are a little bit different. They've got a more pointiness to them than a flat duck kind of deal going on down there. So, but about the same height, about the same size, and I guess you're about right. Spider-Man should always be just a little bit smaller than other people because he's generally considered to be younger, and and also kind of a just a not a big dude. Richards is not a big dude either, but he you kind of consider him, I guess, because of his powers. I've always kind of considered him a little tall and lanky. So, yeah, I don't. Let me see if I can do anything cool with Reed Richards here. I don't know. While we're standing here, let's see. Throw that back a little bit, then give him a little bit of yeah, a little bit of Vogue situation there. Let's get you in the joints on this one are really tight. He needs a good boil and pop. Like I can't even get his legs to move well. There we go. And so, ooh, coming to get you. Ooh, coming to get you. That's yeah. So there you go. That is the Fantastic Four. Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. Let's move along to his wife, shall we? So Sue here, and she's cocked to the side really weird because this is one of the I think one of the last figures they're going to have on this particular female body. They Marvel Legends has traditionally had issues in getting the female form just right, and there's some downright weird stuff from the Toy Biz days, but they've gotten better over the years. But in trying to make it a little bit, more smaller, because she has a smaller frame, you end up a little wiry. Some of the legs end up wiry again. No boot cut. She does not have a waist cut to do her waist, but she does have a cut up around the upper, the chest area, so to speak. This is the same body mold as the other two Invisible Woman figures we've gotten, or that Hasbro has offered. Of course, again, the difference is the paint app, which again, I love the paint app here, and a new head sculpt. And the head sculpt is meant to reflect the time period in which this Sue was, and also a little bit of the animated series. And you can see down here. You know what I'm going to do to use as a pointer this time? I'm going to use the Reed Richards arm. You can see there the her face as it's done in this particular artwork. Sue's face, the mold doesn't really work out so much for me. And two, like with a lot of female characters, with a lot of female characters, you end up with hair that kind of prevents you from. See if we can get focus going there. Well, right. So you end up with hair that gets in the way of a lot of head bending. So you can look down, but there's no up kind of situation. And again, like this stance that I have her in is kind of the stance that she's got to kind of be in, because otherwise she's not very stable. She's not the figures haven't been real stable on the shelf. So but like I say, same kind of principle as this Sue, and they've got another one that's coming, like I say, Hasbro Pulse, where she's fully invisible, which is not something that I don't know that they've done with Hasbro Marvel Legends since. I don't know that Marvel Legends done it since like a chase figure in the movie wave back from the first Fantastic Four movie, the Tim Story Fantastic Four movie. I like this head sculpt on this old one a lot better. It just does. There's something about the way the paint is applied there that just looks weird. So probably what I'm going to do is take this head sculpt and put it there, or take the head sculpt from the modern version and put it on her. Either way, they're both better head sculpts that just don't look. This just kind of disturbs me. This face kind of disturbs me a little bit. But kudos to Marvel. Sue comes with two different fists for left and right hand, and not just the splayed hand opening. And this comes with an accessory that fits over this hand. It doesn't fit most securely, but it's like an invisible shield, and it's really cool. And here's what's going to happen: Real Geek Out Loud on Instagram. I'm going to take some pictures later, some action shots and that sort of thing, and post up with the whole gang together fighting the bad guys and stuff, because we've got a great Doctor Doom that they can be standing against and that sort of thing. So, so you'll see things like this particular prop in action on that. But Real Geek Out Loud on Instagram, check us out over there, and we'd appreciate you doing so. So it's about what you'd expect. I think I will try the head swap real quick. Let's do that. Let's try the head swap real quick. Yeah, yeah, like that a lot better. Much bigger fan of this version of the head there. That's probably how she's going to be displayed on the shelf, and I'm okay with that. I like that. So yeah, that's the Invisible Woman, Sue Storm. Here's what I've done. I've done these three first, simply because we'd already kind of looked at the thing on one live stream. I kind of knew what to expect out of these other two. Now we're getting in the stuff that I'm really excited about, particularly one, Johnny Storm. So let's bring him out. And here he is. This is one that I was, as I said, super excited about because I did not get the Johnny Storm from the Walgreens wave a couple of years back, several years back, three years back, um, and that's fine. You know, now it's fine. But the next Johnny Storm they made was in that super modern version, and he wasn't flamed on. He had some flame effects. His fists were flamed up, but he wasn't fully flamed on. And to me, if you want to have a really cool display, you want to have a good Johnny Storm flamed on. One of the things they did in this app was not only they make him translucent, as you can see, but he's got the flame lines. And if you look, I don't know. Let's see if we can see the cover back there. I don't know if it's focused in enough, but you can see that that's kind of how he was always drawn, with these flame lines. He and the original Human Torch. These black lines, I guess they're denoting that he is on fire. I guess they're supposed to denote some kind of motion, but it just kind of became the accepted way of drawing Johnny Storm. He's got some flames licking off of his hands and forearms there, and off the top of his head and his shoulders. But the thing about the stuff on his shoulders is it is easily, well, I say easily, trying to do it with one hand, removable. And I really thought I didn't like the stuff on his shoulders that much. And now I'm seeing him without it. I do like it on his shoulders. It just adds a little bit more. It fills it in a little bit more, and it covers up where you can see kind of how it's put together through this translucent stuff. And you can see that throughout, but that's just kind of the trade-off you make for having a translucent kind of figure like this. He is on, I believe, what they call the Bucky Cap buck, which is... it's got some butterfly joints to it a little bit up in the chest area. He's got that ab crunch there. He's got a waist swivel. He's got a thigh swivel. He's got that calf break that I was talking about that Reed Richards doesn't have. He's got the full articulation at the ankles, so you can have him flying like he needs to, and then the rocker. I just, man, I can't stop looking at this guy. I'm really excited to have a good Johnny Storm. Now, I've had on my shelf displayed with the Super Classic, what I'm calling now the Super Classic Fantastic Four. I've been using the old Marvel Legends Johnny Storm, which is honestly still very passable. It's still a really good figure. It's not translucent, which is fine. I don't think a figure has to be translucent to be cool. And it is painted up very comic booky with the lines and everything. And I have the version that has the 4 emblazoned on his chest, but here he doesn't. And Johnny didn't necessarily have that. That was kind of always artist choice. If they wanted that 4 right there on his chest on fire as well. I'm digging this figure. He's got some extra fists. He's got a fist there, but these don't have the flaminess coming off of them. So you've got a couple of extra fists that are just regular translucent fists that can fit in his hands if you want to. But he also has the outstretched hand and kind of the fist back for flying. So you can do. Johnny never did kind of the Superman flying necessarily, like with the fist back and the hand out. But you can put him in that pose if you want to be flying. I didn't do his head to see kind of how much motion he's got there. Yeah, so see, you can put his head up, so he's really flying. And I don't know. Oh wow! And it even keeps it there. So that's great. So that's a good deal. Let's do this. Let's get this guy in the air. Let's get him to take off. How about that? Johnny Storm does not need to be grounded. That's one thing Johnny Storm should never be. So I know I said he doesn't really do the Superman pose, but I couldn't help it. Putting him in flight like this. I mean, look, he this figure belongs in motion. I wish there we had some like flame effects to put behind him. I don't know if I can take the Marvel Legends flame effects and make it work or not, because the Toy Biz Marvel Legends flame effects. If you remember the Toy Biz, they had all these things that almost helped build dioramas, and one of them was the Johnny had like this stand of flame that kind of looked like it was actually shooting out from behind him, the way that he leaves a flame trail in the comics. I love that the head has such great articulation to it. A lot of times with these characters that fly like this, you end up with a little uh, bit of a hard time trying to get them to fly, or to kind of be able to look out and be in a horizontal type position. Um, Golly, I am so pleased with this figure. It is absolutely. I'm super gobsmacked by how pleased I am with this figure. The Fantastic Four, one of my favorite teams, one of my favorite comics growing up was the Fantastic Four, and I'm so glad this is. I'm not going to say this is the best version. You can already see I kept the head swapped Sue there, and as I say, I may swap out the Things head if it weren't for the wash being different on the other one. But when it comes down to just having a team, um, that a complete team, that I've really wanted to have a good complete team. There are things that I don't like, and I tried to kind of point those out as we went along on this team. We'll get to the Psycho Man and the High Evolutionary at another time, because I this video has gone on so long as it is. I there are, as I got in close up and personal with some of these things, a couple of scratches of paint where it should be white. There's some little flecks of blue. A couple of just like I say, my nitpicks are the shading across the chest of the thing, the chest and back of the thing, where it's a little lighter. I Sue's, she just is, to me. I have a hard time posing that body and that style of body. I'm really anxious to see when because I know I think it's Tigra that they have put out, made a new female body for her, and I think that's what they're going to kind of use going forward. I haven't gotten my hands, and I didn't order Tigra. She wasn't one of my go-to kind of favorites from back in the day, figures. So I didn't get her, and so I haven't had a chance to get my hands on one of those new versions of the female body yet. Overall, I can't complain about this wave that much at all, though. I'm not. Look, I I paid for this with my own money. This is not me shilling. I'm just excited that the Fantastic Four got to take front and center in a wave that was not an exclusive wave, and it wasn't just and it wasn't so modern. That this really does fit my wheelhouse of when I was reading comics, and what I liked most about the comics that I read. And this is that group. This is the group that I love to read their adventures. And you're talking about space spanning and time spanning adventures. I want to show you a few things because we didn't get to the High Evolutionary or the Psycho Man, and I hate that we didn't get to do that just yet. But here is a comic book. This is Fantastic Four number 283 with Psycho Man on the cover, and this is one of his last, as far as I know, one of his last appearances. I had a complete run from roughly 250 up through about around into the 370s, and he never showed up again outside of this little arc here with these couple of issues. Beyond that, I don't know if he showed up again. The thing about Psycho Man is he's not from this Earth. He's small. He's from the microverse. So you're talking about the Fantastic Four going super small to confront this guy. They had some adventures with him. He controls emotions and that sort of thing. So pretty exciting. And one character that I should be more up on, but I'm not quite as up on as I need or as I should be to do a show like this, is this High Evolutionary guy. You can see here him versus Galactus. This is not on Earth. If I'll be honest with you, this is on like a pseudo Earth or an Earth 2 kind of thing. This is on a whole different planet. And and these two are fighting it out. This is one of my favorite covers of all time. I have this comic somewhere. It's not here in Rome with me, so I think that means it's down in South Georgia, which means it may very well be demolished and destroyed. But it was always one of my favorite covers. But then this was also one of my favorite covers with the High Evolutionary. This is Avengers Annual number 17, and this is the conclusion of the Evolutionary War. This went through the annuals, the story arc that ran through the annuals in 1988. And this was the end game of it all. Basically, he had won, and 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 Beast had to kind of round up the second stringers of the Avengers to go fight him, and you can see they're all in trouble there. He's not really that big. This is kind of but he's just normal human size in this one. So he obviously has some powers. He's almost a cosmic Doctor Moreau. He's got a lot of animal servants and that sort of thing. So I'm excited to break into those figures. I want to play around because they're newer models and stuff, new sculpts and some. In the instance of Psycho Man, I want to play around with them, kind of get to know them, and check it out that way. So I tell you what to do if you want to check out some pictures of those at a later date. Should be pretty soon. I hope to play around a little bit, maybe this weekend into Monday, and over at my Instagram, which is Real Geek Out Loud. I know that many of you are used to following me on Steve Glosson, but I decided to do what I do with the toys and stuff over at Real Geek Out Loud. Apparently, Geek Out Loud was already taken, so it's Instagram. It's Real Geek Out Loud. I have a few things there that I've just kind of been joking around with, basically. You've got you got the old Hulk saying they're not dolls. You've got that's the Emperor looking down at the Hulk and thing, telling them to dance, puppets dance, and the Spy Master who masters the spies. He's kind of watching everything go on, and then that's the Hulk about to destroy the Emperor. So yeah, that is Real Geek Out Loud on Instagram. Encourage you to check it out and head by there. Appreciate everyone giving us a follow there at Real Geek Out Loud. You'll notice it by the Geek Out Loud symbol. That's how you'll know it's Geek Out Loud. You know, the old Geek Out Loud logo that comes to us courtesy of Michael Cohen. I want to thank Mark All for the amazing stand that I can do haul videos on now. And I don't mean like videos in the haul. I mean like when I'm showing off some comics. And I have several that we're going to do on a live stream. I don't know if he wants to be shouted out or not, so I won't. But I had a good friend basically pass off to me a long box of his old comics, and there was some fun stuff in there that I'm still kind of sorting through and figuring out. And I mean, like, it's a long box worth of comics. And so I'm going through to kind of check out what's what. I'm rebagging some things and boarding some things, rebagging and boarding some things. And just because I don't want to go one by one, but just kind of to hit the highlights. And so kind of going through some of that stuff right now. For that, I actually got a mystery box in that was full of like some golden age, silver age kind of stuff, which is really cool. Not the best shape of all, but I'm really excited to share those with you. So a lot to do, and Mark All, gave us the tools to do so. We will do probably a live stream, because I got to tell you what, this trying to pre-record and stuff, I don't know. I don't really know what I'm doing, and I try to kind of do it live yet pre-recorded. Just right now, when it comes to making these videos, I'm in the 2 VCRs with a pause and play button going on. That's kind of where that's the situation I find myself in. When I first started this, I was using a little bit of an editor, but that was filmed separately, upload to the computer, edit. You guys know me. I very much like will do it live. I kind of want to keep doing this YouTube thing. I enjoy it to an extent, but you know me as well. If you've been listening to the podcast for any amount of time, you know that I'm very much a click, record, and roll. So this requires a lot more preparation, and if I actually end up doing video editing that's not just pause, play, then I'm seeing just how much time it's going to take. So, a lot of different lot of different things there, a lot of different stuff going on. Want to thank the Patreon, those of you who are Patreon supporters. Um, oh, oh Lord, that's not a good that's not a good look for Patreon.